Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into something I think we've all wished for at some point, a user manual for being human. We're going to break down the two absolute core skills you need to get a handle on your own inner world and, just as importantly, better navigate the world around you. Let's get right into it. I mean, seriously, right? Have you ever walked away from a conversation just thinking, what just happened? Or, had one of those days where your own emotions completely hijack your plans? It happens to all of us. But what if there was a way to decode those interactions and maybe get a little more control over your own reactions? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore. All right, so where do we start? Well, the first part of this user manual is all about looking outward. It's about developing a skill called social awareness, which is honestly the foundation for how we connect with pretty much everyone in our lives. So what is social awareness really? Well, at its core, it's exactly what it says here, the ability to understand other people's perspectives and to empathize with them. It sounds simple, but it's really about getting out of your own head for a minute and genuinely trying to see the world through someone else's eyes. You've probably heard this phrase a million times, but it's just so perfect. True understanding, real connection, it all starts when we make an honest effort to imagine what it's like to walk around in their shoes. And hey, the goal isn't always to agree with them. It's just to understand where they're coming from. That's a huge first step. Okay, so that's the idea, but how do you actually practice this stuff? Here's a really simple but kind of brilliant exercise. First, think of someone you don't know all that well, maybe a quiet coworker or someone in one of your classes. Then just take a second to imagine their day, their commute, their worries, what might make them smile. And then just try writing a few lines as if you were them. It's a really cool, creative way to flex that empathy muscle. And this whole idea gets to a really crucial point. Empathy isn't just about guessing what someone's feeling in the moment. It's bigger than that. It's about recognizing and truly honoring the fact that everyone comes from a different place, with a completely unique set of experiences that have shaped who they are today. Here's another great activity that kind of builds on that idea in a fun way. Imagine getting your team or your friends to bring in baby pictures. You all guess who is who, and it's always a good laugh. But then it opens the door to talk about how everyone has this rich, unique history. It's a lighthearted way to remind ourselves that we all bring something valuable and different to the table. So, if there's one golden rule to take away from this whole first section, it's this. It's so simple. Ask, don't assume. Instead of trying to fill in the blanks about why someone thinks or feels a certain way, just get curious. Ask them. It is by far the most direct path to genuine understanding. All right, so that's the outward-facing part of the manual. But, understanding other people is really only half the battle, right? Now we've got to turn that spotlight around, look inward, and tackle the skill of self-management. Self-management, I like to think of it as your ability to be the pilot of your own ship. It's having the capacity to guide your emotions, your thoughts, and your actions in the direction you actually want to go, instead of just being a passenger getting tossed around by the waves of impulse. And the secret weapon of self-management? It is unbelievably simple. And yet, man, it can be unbelievably hard. It's the pause. It's that tiny little space you create between a feeling and a reaction. Learning to pause and reflect is the single biggest step you can take to move from just reacting to everything to actually responding thoughtfully. And get this isn't just some nice, fluffy idea. There is actual hard science to back this up. Things like mindfulness practices can literally, physically reshape the parts of your brain that are in charge of attention and regulating your emotions. I mean, how cool is that? It proves we actually have the power to change our own minds. And the best part is, you don't have to go sit on a mountain for a month to do this. These are things you can use anywhere, anytime. A few focused, deep breaths before a tough conversation. Actively listening to someone without just planning what you're going to say next. Visualizing a calm place when you're stressed. Or even just scribbling your thoughts in a journal. These are all tools for your self-management toolkit. Self-management is also the engine that drives our goals. It's all about taking that huge, intimidating aspiration and making it doable. You set a clear goal, you break it down into tiny, manageable steps, and this part is so important, you actually celebrate the small wins along the way. That's how you build real, lasting momentum. Okay, so we've looked outward with social awareness, and we've looked inward with self-management. But the real magic, the part where it all clicks, is when you see how these two skills are deeply, deeply connected. They actually create a powerful, positive feedback loop.
Think about it like this. On one side of the coin, you've got social awareness, understanding people, feeling empathy, appreciating where they come from. And on the other side, you've got self-management, guiding your actions, managing your own feelings, and working toward your goals. They might seem separate, but they are absolutely two sides of the very same coin.
And here's how they feed each other. When you get better at managing your own stress, your own impulses, you suddenly have more bandwidth to be truly present for other people. You can actually listen. And then, when you get better at understanding others, you get this incredible insight that helps you manage your own responses more effectively. See? It's a powerful upward cycle.
Okay, I know that was a lot. So the big question is, where on earth do you even begin with all this? Well, the final part of our user manual is super simple. It's just about taking that very first step.
Look, the key is not to try and master everything overnight. Just focus on one thing, one small action. Today, just take one deep, mindful breath when you feel stressed. Or, in just one conversation, make a real effort to understand the other person's perspective before you jump in. That's it, just one small thing.
And that brings us right back to where we started. You now have the basic framework, the first two chapters of the Human User Manual. So the only question left is, what are you going to do with it? Whose shoes will you try to step into first?